All right, everybody, here we are, another episode of the Kadoozie Kast with me, Sue Costello, and the lovely and very funny and very talented Miss Jackie Kashian.
Hello, Kadoozie peoples. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here because I'm a little nervous because you're like a professional podcaster.
Well, I would be if I made a living at it. Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's considered professional?
I think so. Isn't that? Well, I suppose if you get paid for it, then you're a professional. And people donate. People use the donate button. God love them. And so I suppose
you have a donate button?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm going to learn so much. So they're busting my balls about the sound. So I have to say, listen.
Well,
donate.
The donate button happened because I was doing it on Blog Talk Radio, and so we would all call in. Me and my guests would call in. And it was free. It was totally free. And then I said, well, I will pre-record, but to pre-record, I have to have a Libsyn account. That's $20 a month. Mm-hmm. I have to have some sort of recording device. I have to have a board and some wires and some mics, and I have to have equipment. So I figured it out, and I was like, even without the Libsyn thing is like $20 a month, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I was willing to do that. But all the equipment ended up being, I said, if you have, I need $600. And so over the course of a couple of months, people gave me $600.
They did?
Yeah. And so I bought a bunch of equipment, and then that was probably 2 years ago. And then I've upgraded, I continue to donate, which is good because I do live shows. And when you do a live show, even if you don't have to pay the tech guy because you don't get the door, like I did the New York Podcast Festival this weekend.
Yeah. That was the first annual podcast festival in New York.
First annual in New York. And they made a great deal of money, but they didn't pay me. But they didn't charge me for the tech. They didn't charge me for the space. Like oftentimes, if you're going to put up a theater show, you have to pay the theater. You have to rent the space, and you have to pay the tech guy.
But then you get some of the door.
Then you get some of the door.
Or you get all the door, actually.
I believe so.
If you rent the space, you get all the door.
Right. And so that's the trade-off. But, so I don't have to pay the tech guy, but you got to tip the tech guy. Because he's working for you, right?
You're awesome.
Well, I don't know.
You are. I just think that's...
Yeah.
That was very kind that you tipped.
Well, but the thing is, you tip the tech guy, but am I awesome, or is it that? But it's another reason why the donate button remains viable in my mind. Plus,
because you pay it forward and people. But of course, if they want to if anybody wants to donate money, that's cool because that's like your fans wanting you to continue to.
Right, and the content, it's like an NPR model. It's not, it's not a lot of money. So, but it's just it'd be great because the dream, of course, is to have 1,000 super fans, and a super fan is someone who gives you $100.
Yeah?
Yeah? If 1,000 people gave me $100, that'd be a lot of money.
And then you wonder, like, people at home, like, why should I give her $100, right?
Well, they'd have to really like the show. I mean, people who are just sort of casual listeners, they've given me like $5 or no money, right?
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of people who don't have any money. Like,
right.
A lot of college kids listen and young comics and stuff. And they have day jobs and they don't have any money.
Right.
And you're like, that's fine, But if you have money, it is nice if you can donate. But if you don't have money, feel free to listen anyway. And you
can't control that. You don't know who donates and who pays. And
well, I know who donates because I get the announcements from PayPal. And then I send off a trinket. I usually send off like a magnet or a card saying, thanks.
Jackie, already I'm impressed. And we're only like 3 minutes in. I love it. It's like you're a businesswoman.
And I wasn't raised by wolves. So I was raised by wolves, but wolves that made me write thank you letters when I was a tiny child.
They did?
So, yeah.
Isn't that so good that you did that?
Yeah. As my stepmother used to say, she would say, you write a thank you letter, maybe you get another gift next year. She's like, I don't mean to make it mercenary, but there's a reason.
But there is something to people love it. People love when you acknowledge them, regardless.
Yeah, you should acknowledge, and people deserve the acknowledgement first of all. And if you have to, and in my stepmother's case, she was like, fine, you can do this for some sort of hoping for a reward reason.
And I don't know if everybody knows about that. I don't know if they know. Like, I know I was on Brewer's radio show, Jim Brewer's radio show, and we were talking about tipping, and he doesn't tip the maids.
Oh, at the hotel?
No.
No, I know. It's kind of a new thing. Like in the last 4 or 5 years, I just found out about it. Like I didn't know.
You didn't know to tip?
I didn't know to tip to leave money at the hotel for the maids.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't until about 3 or 4 years ago.
Because Sebastian Maniscalco called in and he was like, definitely, you have to tip. You have to, like, I think it's like $5 a day is what you're supposed to tip, at least.
Yeah, I was told it was 3. 3 to 5.
I guess if you're in the Midwest, it's 3. If you're in New York, LA, it's 5.
And it was how much work is being done and how you sort of leave the room. And I mean, it's just sort of, you know, some guy wrote some article that you should tip when you check in. And I was like, fuck you.
Why when you check in?
Because then you get a better room. And I'm like, I just want a clean room. And
you give you palm them. You give them some money. It's funny,
the guy
it's like
at the front desk. Do you do that?
No, usually I get it from my personality. Usually people are like, do you want a bigger room? And I'm like, yes, please. But there is something to be said about that, too. I remember when I was renting a car in LA, some, regular budget or whatever. And I waited in line, because that flight is, like, exhausting on the way out there. It is on the way here, too. But so I walked up to the guy, and all I said to him was, hi, how are you today? And he started crying.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, nobody's talked to me all day. They just yelled at me all day, and I'm having terrible problems at home, and that was the nicest thing anybody's done all day.
Oh, my God.
And he gave me, like, a big, huge pimpin', like, Escalade or something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
For, like, $20 a day or, like, $19 a day. It was hilarious. But there is something about the kindness of it, but there's also, like, that whole rich-poor thing. Like, because my dad is the one who taught me about the cleaning ladies. Like,
oh, really?
Always tip. Always. Because his aunt and his mother were both cleaning ladies in the hotel.
Oh, well, that'll help. My father barely tips.
No?
Yeah, my father's a bit of a jack.
He's alligator arms?
What's that?
Alligators have really short arms, so they don't reach into their pockets.
They can't reach into his pocket. To my knowledge, when I was a kid, I remember my stepmom and my dad talking about how you got to tip well. But every time I've gone out to dinner with him, he is a shitty tipper. So I don't understand. I mean, you could talk a good game, but I'm going to need to see the results.
Have you ever said, Dad, what is it? I bet you he has a reason. Most people have reasons, even if they're like crazy, weird reasons.
Right. It's something about how they get paid and, they already have a job and they don't need a tip. And just a crazy reason.
They only get paid like $2 an hour.
Not anymore.
You sure?
Well,
whatever
I know in
Minnesota.
Is. Which is $7.50.
No, they don't get minimum wage.
In Minneapolis, they do. In Minnesota, they do.
They do?
Yeah,
you only need that to live in Minnesota. No.
And Minneapolis is one of the most expensive cities in the country.
It is?
Yeah.
$7.50 an hour.
$7.25, maybe.
But that's probably what I'm losing. $7.50 an hour on my podcast.
Have you gone? I've been here for 4 days. I've done 1 million sets and a bunch of podcasts, and then I did the podcast festival, and it's been really fun.
You like New York?
Super fun. I love New York. It's expensive, and it takes me 3 days to figure out how to get anywhere. Like the first 3 days I come to New York, I always take cabs everywhere.
And it's so expensive,
which is very expensive.
And it's time consuming. I don't like cabs because it takes longer. Like the subway, once you figure it out, you can zoom.
Right. So and I'm staying on the Upper West Side, and so all of my sets have been on the Lower East Side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So essentially I take the crosstown bus at 86 or something.
The bus is just
and then
horrible.
I take the 6 down. And it's fine.
But you'd be better off taking the 2, the 3, or the 1 down to Times Square, taking the shuttle across or the 7 across, and then going down. You'll be quicker that way.
Right. I don't ever want to go through Times Square.
You don't have to. You just take the train down there.
Right. And then you get off on Times Square.
No, you're still in the subway. You don't ever have to go outside.
I know it. It took me 3 days to figure that out.
It's so quick.
I'll tell you, my map program on my iPad was like, and then you walk a half a block, and I'm like, I'm not going upstairs.
No, it's probably half a block underground.
It's half a block underground to take the N.
Jackie's like, I will not go to town. Dead bus. You got to not take that bus anymore.
That bus is okay, but the weird thing is coming back. It's like 1 a.m, and so I take the 6 up to 96th, and then I wait for a bus for 15 minutes at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm bored.
Next time you take the 6 to 42nd Street, you take the shuttle across. It takes 3 seconds, and then you take the 1 of the 9 of the 2. I mean the 1, 2, 3 of the 9. One of them's 9. working right now. But wait a minute. So I was going to tell you. So my dad. So he was here staying in New York, and it's so funny. Like, just I don't know. Now I guess I can see, as opposed to everything being so like prickly, and when I was immature, and I'm like, Dad, why do you got to do that? I was so like, it was all about me instead of like just seeing the truth. And I think he loves his coffee, like you.
Like myself.
Which you're
I'm going
hilarious.
to have some right now.
We got here, and Jackie's like, do you have any coffee? And I'm like, do you want me to make 4 cups? She's like, no, 12.
12 cups. Make all of it, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out when it's done.
Well, that's what I love about doing the podcast. I get to find out stuff about people that I would never know. I'm like, okay, Jackie's going to have 12 cups of coffee.
I might have 12 cups of coffee.
But my dad, he loves it. And he's like, there's not a lot of things that he loves, you know. And so he was staying in the hotel, and he ordered coffee, and I think it was like $17 for a pot or something.
Right, delivered to his room.
Yes, with, you know, they do all the extra charges and everything. So my friend was like, we were out one day, and she's like, I'm going to get him a coffee pot.
There should be a coffee pot in his room.
There wasn't. I forget why they did away with it, but there wasn't. It was the Marriott, whatever, in Times Square or whatever. And so she went and got him the coffee pot, and he was beside himself. Like, you couldn't even fathom that she got... And the coffee pot was like $8.99.
Right. Well, that was very sweet of her.
Oh, it was very... She's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And so she got him the coffee pot, and then when he was leaving, he was all verklempt about what to do with the coffee pot.
Oh, right. I don't want to throw it out. What should I do with the coffee pot?
So cute. And I said, Dad, leave it for the maid.
Right.
And he's like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah,
I said, yeah, pay it forward, Dad.
Yeah.
And so then, you know what he did? He gave a note to the boss that he had gifted it to her so she wouldn't get in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
Isn't that cute? Like,
That is
I would never
adorable.
thought of that.
You know what? Because what I would have said to him, why don't you leave your hotel and go 2 feet and get yourself a cup of coffee? Why deliver it to the room, Dad?
Oh, he just did it that one moment because he needed it and whatever was
Right.
going on in that second.
Right.
But yeah, no, he wasn't going to spend 17. But it was really cute to see, like, just the pleasure of him actually having the coffee pot in the room. And
Yes.
he could make the coffee. We got him coffee so he could make it whenever he wanted.
Well, you know, I do a lot the Dork Forest live every week.
Oh yeah, let's tell everybody about your podcast. It's called The Dork Forest.
It's called the Dork Forest, like dork, nerd, geek, this type of thing. And it is dork on dork dialogue. I play one of the dorks, and then I have a rotating...
But I was on it, and I
You
wasn't so dorky, though, right?
You were super cool.
I
It was
was.
hard to be you. No, it was you were a dork. You're a giant dork. You were a self-help kind of a feminist dork.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we talked about the nature of injustice.
It was really funny, but people liked it because they said I didn't sound like I was whining or whatever, right?
Right. It was very much
Factual.
just honest and just guess who's done taking shit.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was a great episode. You can go to dorkforce.com. Libsyn, for some reason, has messed up my search ability, so good luck. Good luck finding it. Just keep scrolling.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was episode like 130 or something. It's after episode 100. I'm almost at 500 episodes.
You are? I can see how that can happen because I'm starting to get like in a good groove here. It's not, and I'm really, 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 really enjoying it. I didn't know how much I would like it.
Yeah, it's fun, and people are like, oh yeah, I'll listen to. And the LA Podcast Festival was even funnier because there were 300 people staying in one hotel, and all of the podcasts were live podcasts, took place in that hotel. Everyone stayed in the hotel. It was like the first year of Comic-Con.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so everybody got to hang out and meet all the podcasters that they listen to. But people who listen to podcasts are some of the most patient people in the world because they will listen to hours of content hoping to find something interesting.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, they were the nicest people on the planet.
Which is awesome because if you look at it that way, then it's like, well, we're grooming like a nice, as opposed to like being angry, comic, fight with hecklers and everything. Like if you're doing podcasts and you're grooming, and I think they like the isolation of putting the earbuds in their ears and listening to the humanity of it. I think because I read a big article that like podcasts are the way of the future now. Like at first they thought, oh, whatever. And now they're like, it should be every, like performer should have one as their platform.
Oh yeah, because then everybody gets to sort of really know you. Because it's, people, you can watch people stand up. And I am of the opinion that if you can't really hide who you are by the jokes that you decide to tell. You can tell me you're doing a character.
Right.
But
your character
is a dick,
right?
It turns out. And you know what you're doing? You're channeling your inner asshole. So
right, you're choosing to magnify that.
Right, that's the part of your personality that you wish to magnify. And if you're funny, you win. I mean, because I will hang out with jackasses if they are funny enough.
I always say that if the funny outweighs the insult, it's hard to, like, get mad.
Yeah. But once it does, I don't care. If you're crazy outweighs how funny you are, you're hard to hang out with. I can't do it.
Well, I also find, this is what I really started to notice, which was fascinating to me, because I always thought you're supposed to just kill. And what I find now is some people that are mean and they kill, the audience doesn't necessarily connect with them.
Well, why would they? I mean, the thing is some of the mean that kills is just shock jock laugh. You know, it sounds like they're killing, but it's more just people going, "Oh my god, I can't believe she said that."
Or they're uncomfortable or something, right?
Oh my god, I can't believe he said that. And you're like, yeah, me neither, because there's no punchline.
You know when I noticed
that's what
it?
I usually think.
Right. Well, you know when I noticed it is I was working with Brewer. And it's funny because I always still go back to being like, I'm always around the guys. I did Tough Crowd. I was always with Brewer, and I'm always around like these. And Artie Lang was on the show that night, and just a lot of like. And I know as soon as I go, I'm gonna get my balls busted. So there's no way that I'm actually gonna be able to do. Like we were even talking about Tough Crowd when I did the podcast with Marina about how they were all regulars, and then we would have to come in.
Yes.
So we were more scared. We weren't as prepared. They had a gang. You know. They
right. I busted Colin Quinn and never got asked back.
You did?
Yeah, he had this fucking do-rag on, and I was like, lose the hat. And he was like, no, I like it. And I was like, go for it, weirdo. And, all I did was, I did. And they actually cut, it was right after John Ritter died.
Yeah.
And they asked me, they said, do a joke about John Ritter, and then they cut it. It was, John Ritter died on Friday. We recorded it on Monday. The audience groaned. And I was like, that's what you people do? And you cut my joke about John Ritter, which was, they've renamed John Ritter's TV show 8 Simple Rules I Ignore Because My Dad Is Dead. And that's all the joke. I mean, it was dumb, right? But it was very dark, and it was too soon, possibly. But that was Tough Crowd, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly they were all about edgy, man.
Right. No, when you got the boot, you didn't like his do-rag, you should tweet that at him. He'll retweet it now. He's on Twitter now. And
Who, Colin?
Yeah, do you ever watch him? He gets them all going, and then they all insult him, and then he retweets them.
Oh, no. I haven't seen him since, I think, 2005. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe you bump into him in the East Village.
I might, but I'm not doing any of the clubs.
On the 86 bus.
I'm not doing it. I did Gotham. I just did a work-in.
What's a work-in?
I just did Guess It.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was it? Good, right?
It was Sunday night. There were 17 people there.
Oh, yeah.
And they were not pleased. I've come to a new decision, American public, worldwide public, because you probably have international listeners, is...
I do. Somebody in Switzerland listens to me.
See? Told you. And, so... I think in our lives that there's a couple of times in your life, if you're going to be a tool bag, you're going to really peak. So, I think, at 20,
yeah.
If you're a jackass, 20 is going to be a good year for you to really shine as a jackass. And I picked another day, age 37.
Yeah.
The entire audience, I believe, was about age 37 on Sunday. And so they were, a little too cool to laugh, and they were like, why are you talking about liking to read? That doesn't have anything to do with your lack of pubic hair, or whatever they wanted me to talk about.
Well, did the people who go on before you, a lot of times they'll talk about rough stuff, and then you go on and do that. And
no, it was Ophira Eisenberg.
Same voice as you.
With the same voice as me, Ophira Eisenberg, who has an NPR show called Ask Me Another or something like that. And we did a Dork Forest. I did a Dork Forest with her. I did a Dork Forest with Wyatt Cenac.
Wyatt Cenac?
Yeah, from The Daily Show. You know what?
Is that his real last name?
Yeah.
That's funny, because there's a
C-E-N-A-C?
comedian called S'more.
What? Like the chocolate sandwich?
There's a girl comedian called S'more. And he's Cenac?
Yeah, but his name is Wyatt Cenac. C-E-N-A-C.
I'm trying to think how I'm going to be Kadoozie Ding Dong or Kadoozie.
We go in. There is no Venn diagram that crosses. I'm trying to figure out at what point our lives cross. Costello.
Yeah.
Is it with Paula Bell? Is that... Remember Paula Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paula Bell was rough. But she likes you.
Paula Bell, all comics. It's just Asperger's marching towards autism. So
we're all on the spectrum, you're saying?
We're all on the spectrum. There's nothing to be done. And I saw her probably a year and a half ago. Hadn't seen her since we met in 97.
Which we met at the Montreal Comedy Festival.
No, Aspen, the second year.
We met in Aspen.
Yeah, we met in Aspen, Colorado, the second year of the HBO Comedy Arts Festival.
Okay.
And you and Paula Bell were sitting at breakfast. And I distinctly remember it because Paula Bell said something, none of us have had any coffee. None of us. We've all just awakened. And Paula Bell goes, Paula Bell doesn't like it when things happen that way. And I turned to her and I said, did you just refer to yourself in the third person? And she goes, I always do. And I was like, well, I dropped the ball there. Because you're not saying, because then you said I. So.
Because then who said hi?
She said I.
Oh, she said, I always do. Yeah.
She should have said, she always does. Because that would have been hilarious.
But she didn't have her coffee. She wasn't
right, none of us had her.
No, and we were in Aspen with all that terrifying, again, those competitions and those weird, performing, all the people squirming all over the place. And
a lot of industry at that one. It was my first industry showcase. And so I had done my set something like 52 times or something. Right. It had a lot of life left in it. No, I don't know. That's what it felt like. Little stiff. Yeah. So, but...
Yeah, I don't think people understand that when we do stuff like that you have to do it. Even when you do, the Tonight Show or you do the Letterman, you have to do your set,
Have you... I've never done any late night shows.
No, I've never done them. Tom Dreesen called the Letterman people and then told them I should be on. Everybody always says that to me, though. You should do it.
I had a showcase for the Letterman one when I was here, and the guy's really nice, but I have a 3-minute joke that he likes.
Yeah.
And so he needs another minute and a half.
Oh, that's funny.
And so I've run some stuff by him, and we just haven't, people don't realize that it takes a couple of years to figure out what 19 jokes you're going to do or whatever.
Well, yeah, because once you do it on the TV show, then it's pretty much you have to shelve it. People do not like to hear when you've already done it on TV. They're like, yeah, unless it's one of your signature bits, and then the comic doesn't like it. Isn't that funny? People don't want to hear what you did on TV. They want you to do material unless it's a bit that they love, and then the comic doesn't want to do it because they're I'm bored with that.
Right, and I think that used to be more true when it was Johnny Carson, though, because I haven't the bit he likes is that animal joke.
What's the animal
new
joke?
Dog, new cat, whatever.
Well, just tell it to it. Oh, you don't want to tell us because then you can't.
No, it's a 3-minute bit. Nobody wants me to tell it.
I would listen.
No, it's on JackieKashian.com. Okay. It's animated. It's from my new album. Critically acclaimed album. It's never going to be bread. You can hear the joke on JackieKashian.com. And we hired a guy to fully animate it as an ad for the album.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's just how LA pet owners are out of their minds. And when you were a kid, you'd get a new dog. You'd get a new cat. In LA, it's, no, the cat has dialysis. We're going to get, the cat has kidney stones. We're going to get dialysis or whatever, right? And it's $3,000 for diabetic cat medicine for your cat. And you're like, well, that's 3,000 new cats because cats are free. And then I have another friend.
Yeah, that's a good joke for it.
Yeah, and there's a lot more stuff there, and it's a great joke. It just I don't know. I'm trying to think what else. I just wish the best TV thing that I ever did. Lisa Langang, Friday night. It was called Late Friday Night.
Lisa Langang, where was she from? That name sounds familiar.
Well, she was development director over at NBC for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Comedy Central for a while.
Okay, yeah.
And she would say, this had to be 1999, 2000, and she booked this show called Late Friday. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't Friday Night Videos, it was after that. And she said, okay, so do 7 to 10, we're going to cut it down to 7, and keep it TV clean. And so you'd show up, you'd do 7 to 10. Tom Rhodes did 22 minutes.
Right.
Well, that was absurd. And they cut it down to 7.
Right.
And then, but she didn't tell you what material to do. She assumed your brain was attached to the rest of you.
Right.
Like an adult.
Right.
And she's like, you're a comic. I think you're funny. Do 7 to 10. it should work out.
Which is kind of unheard of, because usually they make you do every single thing. Yeah, they make.
And then she handed you, $340 or whatever after scale was
So
at the
bad.
time. And so I heard a bunch of people doing it again. So I call her up and I was like, well, can I do it again? And she's like, yeah, of course. And she books me, and I show up. And Bart Coleman, who's now working for Comedy Central, and
he is.
Yeah,
I follow him on Twitter.
Or Jim Fallon, or it's somebody.
Yeah.
And,
no, for Craig Ferguson.
Right, Craig.
Yeah.
That's it, Craig
Right.
Ferguson.
Right.
So I show up, and they do makeup, and he's walking me to the stage because he was at that was his job at that time. So he's walking me to the stage, and as we're going, he goes, "You're doing a different 7, right?" So nobody had asked me.
But you knew.
Well, yeah. Well, again, brain attached to the rest
Right.
of me, and I was like, "Yeah, of course." And he goes, "Okay, that was checking. It's all good."
Well, you have to also preface this by back then, when the 90s, right there, early 2000, comedy was like, it was like butter.
And it was on at 11:30 at night on Fox,
Right.
or UPN, or some damn channel that nobody gave a shit about. So, but I just did stand up in stilettos.
You did?
Did you do that?
No, somebody tweeted that I should do that. What's up? I gotta get my stilettos and show up.
You need $500 as much as
that
the
how
next
much?
person. Yeah, come on.
Is that really how much they pay
after
you?
scale.
$500 to
Sure,
do
but
how
it's
many
on a
minutes?
TV guide channel, 7 minutes. Jeff Singer books it.
Jeff Singer. He told me that it's not harder for a woman to do stand-up.
What?
I was like, what? We're out to dinner. And I'm like, what did you just say? He's like, yeah, no, it's not harder. That's bullshit. I was like, okay.
Right? How do you?
I think he was just trying to, like, beat me so then I could fight and then he could go see they're all bitches.
Oh, he might have just been button pushing.
I don't know. I was like, because I didn't even dignify it with the response. I was like, okay.
Well, I don't. Here's my whole thing about it's harder to be this or that. Stand-up comedy, not easy.
No, but you're going to get me going on my feminist dorkyism again. Oh, which brings me back to the brewer thing about being the mean thing. Like, because I have this whole theory that a lot of times, like, the business will turn you into a lot of women.
Drive you mad.
Or a lot of women turns you into only be nasty. I don't know what it is. I still haven't figured it out. I've been Googling it, trying to, like, meditate on
What
it.
are you Googling? Jackassery? I'm going to Google jackassery, and it's going to show some guy with his dick inside of a bird. No, I have no idea. I always think that it's going to be some sort of nightmare. Anything you Google, don't hit images. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So I just don't understand. I don't know what it is about. They're more comfortable with this anger. Even though they say they don't like angry women, it's somehow more comforting, and I don't know what it is, but whatever. So I was going to say that whole idea of mean comics and killing, and a lot of times I know for myself I used to be more mean because I was afraid.
Sure.
On stage, I was terrified, so I would attack a little bit more. And so what we were doing, the brewery, they had the comedy covers. We would do the older comics or other comics material. You would cover it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was fun. And and they would always bust my balls. I would get up there and Artie Lang and
Was it a live show?
Yeah, they would do it at Caroline's. We would do it at Caroline's.
Oh, dude!
It was awesome.
Oh my god! I can do Kinnison's.
You can?
Yo-yo bit, yeah.
Oh my god, you would have killed, because I knew that they weren't even going to let me do. I was like, they're not even going to let me genuinely try, because they're just going to, as soon as I get up there, and sure enough, as soon as I get up, they started busting my balls and everything.
Oh wait, is there some sort of creepo panel that's talking during?
Yeah,
your
they
set?
have all the mics, and then I have to stand up and do it. And I did.
Well, that
I did
makes
pray.
that a lot less fun.
It was fun but I've learned how to like not feed into it, and part of it is just guys. It's just how they are, and so then we have more guys. There's going to be more aggression.
Energy.
Yes, boy energy, and they're like wow with each other, and you have to not get caught up in it. And so the first time I did it, I went out. I had my short shorts on, my high heel shoes, my hair in a ponytail, and I was doing Pryor, and I literally pulled out the piece of paper. And started reading, because I knew they were going to just attack me, so I had to have some focus.
Oh, right. And you're like, I'm not, I have to be able to remember this bit, so if you're going to heckle me, and
so
the great thing is that if I did Kinnison, I could just respond as Kinnison's response.
Yes, you could just attack them, right.
Right.
But I don't even know what happened, like it wasn't even calculated. I just started reading, and all the bit was all about pussy, and I kept saying, like, reading the pussy, and they kept interrupting me. Artie was teasing me, and Jim was, and I didn't even realize it, but every time they interrupted me, I would go back to the top of the list and start reading again, and the crowd was screaming, laughing like
That's awesome.
I didn't even mean it. It was like a Suzanne
Yeah.
Summers moment, but that was the only way I knew how to like survive the moment. Like every time they interrupted me, I would just go right back to the beginning.
I'll tell you, my favorite thing I'm doing right now with hecklers, if it gets to a bad situation where the person will not shut up, I fall to my knees and make the sign of the cross, and I pray them out of the room.
And do they leave?
Oh yeah, they fucking
They're too
leave.
weirded out by the religion.
Yeah, everyone. Well, they either shut it or they leave.
Well, that takes confidence to stop like that too. But what I was going to say, so the next time I did the thing is the comedy covers. There was a really, really drunk girl in the front row. So I'm coming to it knowing that I'm like gonna same thing, like when you get attacked or heckled or whatever. The girl's just so drunk, and I don't know what happened, but something inside of me was like, "Don't attack her, Sue. She's so pathetically a mess."
Yeah.
And so I didn't, and I knew I was gonna forego being as funny as I could be because of it. And I got off stage, and and everybody in the crowd was like, "Oh my God, that was the kindest thing I'd ever seen." And I thought, "Oh." Mm-hmm. They do see. The audience does see. And I used to think, oh, you don't want me to be funny, you want me to be weak. And it wasn't necessarily being weak.
No. It's, Maria does this great thing where
Maria Bamford,
the best comic ever. And so she, if somebody heckles.
Yeah. They don't heckle her, do they?
Oh my God. Yeah, if people don't know what the hell is happening, they go, what the hell is happening? And
this brings me more joy now than it did when we had first started out because I just love her and it's hilarious. And for her to have the stamina, and people have to understand, like to get up there and have a big personality on stage, it's almost easier. But to do what she does and to stick with it and have the stamina, so go ahead.
And so she does. There were times when she has great heckler lines. I think she had this one that she was doing for a while, which was like, so I get it. You want to be part of the show. Fair enough. I'm going to give you a role. You're going to play the role of the tiny mute girl. And action. And so... But then she was like, it felt mean. It felt genuinely mean. Because this is someone... Like, how like sometimes people aren't really heckling. It's just more Tourette's.
Yeah, they want to be part of... They like you. Sometimes it's that they like you.
And sometimes they're just yelling out... Hey, my uncle's like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, that actually isn't helpful.
Right.
But I get it. But, so if it's like that, or if people are they want to talk to her, she'll actually stop the show and go, so let's talk. What, but much nicer than I would ever be. Because I'm like, no, I have, like last night I did a set, I had 12 minutes. I don't have time to talk to you people. I got 18 minutes of material to do in 12 minutes. So, chop. You gotta zip it, and you can laugh about these jokes later, because I'm going to tell them too fast for you to even get right now anyway. So.
Right.
Completely hilarious.
It is funny, that whole heckle. The only time I ever really, and it does take, there's 2 times I remember stopping on stage. One time being terrified. I was at Stand Up New York, and the guy kept saying, I'm going to show you my dick, I'm going to show you my dick. And I was so scared that inside, what came to me was challenge him in front of everybody because he won't do it.
Right.
That was my move.
How did that work out? A guy will whip it out.
He whipped it out. And not only did he whip it out, he did it. They didn't kick him out until he did it.
He was a white man, and it was black. No, that would have been so awesome. Remember when Janet Jackson, her boob fell out?
Was it white?
No, I wanted it to be. Because who cares? Who hasn't seen a boob? I was like, was it white? Then I don't care.
Yeah, so he pulled it out, and then they told him to stop it.
And they didn't kick him out.
Not until he did it again.
And
I have so much compassion for myself. It was Stand Up New York, but I have so much compassion for myself for when I started out doing stand-up, and for a bunch of years, because I used to just be in that mode of like, I just didn't know how to take care of myself. I didn't know how to protect myself. I didn't know how to say like, oh, that's unacceptable.
Right.
You can't treat me that way.
Well, what was it? Okay, so Tina Fey's book, Bossy Pants. Mm-hmm. She reads it. I recommend everyone listen to her read it because it's really fun. But she, at one point, people say, people are always asking me, what's the difference between men and women comics? And she said, I can tell you the difference between men and women comedy writers. Men pee in jars. And, but the real thing, and she said, and they're always pretending to rape each other. But that's actually harmless. Don't worry about it. And so, I mean, you know, guys, because especially like Jim Brewer and the other wiggly, shouty men of the world who are constantly like...
Jim's not as aggressive. I don't find him to be, like, when I'm performing with him as much as other ones. He's more playful, with me anyways. I don't find him as... But there, I mean, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why they do it. But I remember one night walking on stage and the guy was like, had his arms crossed and was so much aggression. And the room was packed. And if people don't understand, like, to deal with a heckler... Even if they're not a heckler, like he was sitting in the front row, it's hard to not acknowledge him because the energy's there. The rest of the crowd can't see it, so you have to do it in a way that they understand what's going on. Otherwise, you just look like a bitch.
Oh, are you talking about the guy who's like, I have a 6-pack of beer at the house, why have I come out?
No, I'm talking about I hate you and I want to kill you energy.
Oh.
Yeah, bad. This one night. And I was like, so I stopped and I said to the guy, am I bothering you?
Did you not know you were coming out in public? Sir, what's happening?
And he said something like, I hate you, or something really. I knew it. And I said, really? I go, yeah. So you came in, you saw my name, I'm headlining, and you sat right up front, and you hate me, huh? And I just stared at him. I said, you know what? I don't want to bother you anymore. Go in the bathroom.
Oh.
And I just stared at him.
Until he left?
And the crowd backed me up, and they said, get out, and he got up, and he left.
Yeah,
and it was the only time that I had, like, the guts to, like, stop. And then I killed, you know, and then I was funny afterwards. You have to be funny after that if you're not funny.
You better be funny. You better be funny at all times. The key to stand-up comedy is funny. My favorite comics are the ones that are funny in a row. That's what I call it.
In a row?
Funny in a row. It's, you say a funny thing, you pause, and then you say another funny thing. It's my favorite kind of stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I like about you, why I wanted you to do this, is because I find you to be even more now, like, because I feel like Aspen, I met you in Aspen, I met you in Montreal. I feel like those times in my career took off very quickly, and I was younger.
Right.
And I had people around me, and I wasn't as open to meeting people and just having an experience with them as I am now. And so when I did your podcast, I was like, oh, I forgot how much I really liked Jackie.
Oh, that's neat. Yes.
Because you have a kindness to you, which I really...
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah, oh, cool.
But then I saw you on stage. Well, this is what I want to talk about, too, because this is what I talk to everybody about, is how you got to where you are. And I don't remember exactly what the story was. What, we were at the Nerd...
Melt,
which is the Nerdist...
Meltdown, yeah, Meltdown Comics in Los Angeles has a little theater in the back that is run by Nerdist Industries, which is Chris Hardwick's umbrella thing. And it's called the Nerd Melt Theater.
Yeah, and you got up and you told the story, and the story was about somebody dying.
At Risk? Was it a...
No.
What was it?
You tried to do a joke about somebody's mother, or your mom had just died and somebody came to the house, or... Do you remember the story?
Well, my mom died 5 months ago.
5 months ago?
Yeah.
So did you... Maybe it was... Because how long ago was that? That was probably like 3 or 4 months ago.
When you were in New York, when you were
so
in
it must
LA.
have been fresh. You must have just been coming off of it, and you told the story.
I have been looking for the comedy in my mother's death in the last 5 months. Hit and miss. Speaking of autism, when I came back from her funeral, July 25th.
Okay, how did she die? Do you mind me asking?
No, it was completely unexpected. She was 67. 67? Yeah, I think so. My father is... What is my dad? 75, so she would have been 66 or 67, yeah. So, she's my stepmother of 40 years, and she raised me. And I saw her on the 4th of July. I had lunch with her. I was in Milwaukee, because I grew up in Milwaukee. And my husband and I drove down from Minneapolis to have lunch with her. And her boyfriend, at the time, my parents are separated. And then her birthday is July 17th. And so I talked to her on July 17th. Funniest thing, I'm talking to her, and in the course of it, she thinks I say, so you're going to die, or something. And she goes, I'm not going to die. And I go, I didn't say you were going to die. And she goes, yeah, I'm not dying. And dead, like a week later. So very weird, right? So, but what happens is she's always been, the last 10 years she's been kind of sickly, right?
Meaning?
She had like a spleen problem. I think she had her appendix out or something. There were some complications, and she never recovered. She just weighed about 70 pounds. And then her boyfriend is this guy named Bob. And Bob was great. You know, Bob's the kind of guy, he's 84 years old.
She had an 84-year-old boyfriend?
Yeah. And they live together. And he's got to be 6'3" and the hardiest, halest 84-year-old guy in the world.
Okay, how old was she when she got him?
She would have been like in her 50s and he would have been in his 70s. She's always liked an older man.
But that's awesome.
Yeah. And she kind of picked him because he played in a card game that my father loved. And so by picking Bob, my dad could no longer play in that game.
Wait a minute, what was the game? Maybe this was the story you were telling. Was it...
The peanut? I don't think it's pinochle. It might be sheep's head.
But you need Chip the partner or something, right? Is that what it was?
It was probably a partnery thing.
Yeah, because I just remember you telling the story, and it was very raw, and I loved every minute of it because I was like, that was risky.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to make it funny. But so I come back from her funeral, July 25th, and I walk up to a bunch of comics, one of whom I know very well, and he says, how you doing? And I was like, oh, my mom just passed away. I was at her funeral. One of the other guys, who I don't know very well, goes, oh, was she at that Batman movie in Aurora? And I was like, hey, Asperger's, you're not good at this at all. And I could not stop laughing. Because that's insane. That was
the story you told.
Right, because it was Batman had just happened as well.
Right.
The Aurora thing had just happened. And she had just passed away. So it was wrong from absolutely every angle.
But he genuinely meant it.
No, he
wasn't being mean. He meant.
No, he was riffing.
He was?
Yeah, he's just a comic with there's no filter with comics, right? He was just kidding.
What?
Yeah. He knew she...
It's lost on me. I'm a comic. I've been a comic a long time. You're not even going to get me to even...
Well, no, socially, it was not acceptable, obviously, right? It was
I'm reaching inside as you're talking. I'm like, maybe he was so uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
His mom died. I mean...
Oh, yeah. His family is a mess. And his comedy is very personal and very interesting. His name is Hampton Yount. Hello, Hampton.
What's his name? Why do these people have all these names? Hampton what?
Yount.
Yount.
Yeah. Oh, like Robin Yount. Remember Robin Yount?
No, Robin Yount.
Robin Yount, a very famous baseball player for the Milwaukee Brewers, when I was a child. And I had his baseball card. It was very exciting. He was very handsome. I had a bit of a crush on him.
But not Hampton.
Hampton Yount is yet another perfectly nice young white man. And,
do you still talk to him after that comment?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's really funny.
Did you tell him it was unacceptable?
Yeah, I did the bit in front of him. And I told people standing there, and he was like, yeah. And I know his girlfriend. His girlfriend's a great comic named Aparna Nancherla. Do you know her?
Hampton, you got to say it again because I can't even say it. I wouldn't be able to... Hampton Yount in Aparna Nancherla.
You're from Boston, right? A bunch of liberals. Anyway, Aparna Nancherla is a DC comic.
Okay.
She lives here in New York. Mm-hmm. And, did I show you this? This card that...
Let me see it.
When her name's on here, okay. Aparna. When people say that to me, I just hand them that card now.
I told stand-up comic Jackie Kashian, usually I don't think women are funny, but you were great. And her name's on here?
Yeah.
She knows what I meant, and in reward, she gave me this card so that I might check out some of the thousands of other funny comics who happen to be women.
Yeah.
Here are some women who are very different from Jackie from each other, and very funny. Jackie Kashian, Erin Foley, Karen Kilgariff, Miss Shannon. Who's that?
Miss Shannon?
Miss Shannon.
Aparna.
And Kilmartin.com. And I noticed one name missing from this list. How dare you come into my house and hand me this card? This is the ultimate sabotage.
Let me tell you about this card.
This is a sabotage. You're trying to sabotage my podcast.
No.
My name's not on it, people. I just want you to know.
Costello not on it because I picked the first 7 people who tweeted or said something funny on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't see that tweet.
Well, no, I didn't solicit it.
Oh, you didn't?
No, all I did was go through my Twitter feed and my Facebook page, and I was like,
"What is your Twitter?"
Jackie Kashian, just at Jackie Kashian. And then, and so the first 7 comics who made me laugh that happened to be women were on this card. And that is Aaron Jackson, who is a DC comic who I think lives in Atlanta or DC. Marie Bamford, who lives in Los Angeles, Minnesota comic. Aaron K. Foley, who is a New York comic, lives in LA. Miss Shannon, who is a Minneapolis comic, lives in Minneapolis. AparnaComedy.com, who is a DC comic who lives here in New York now because she's writing on, I think, Totally Biased, W. Kamau Bell's show on Current. Karen Kilgariff, who was the head writer on Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, yeah.
And the Rosie O'Donnell show, and is now the head writer, I think, on Whitney, her talk show. And she's a guitar comic. A little, I'm sure she appreciates that term, but she does music, and so Karen Kilgariff.bandcamp.com, and then Lori Kilmartin. Who do you know, Lori Kilmartin?
I know Lori, yeah.
Yeah. She writes for Conan,
yeah.
And wrote the book How to Be a Shitty Mom, the parenting book for the rest of us.
Oh yeah, I remember reading some. She sent some story. I don't know if she's emailed it or what about. Some bad mom moment. I remember.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
it's such a great book. I don't have any kids.
No.
But it's a very funny book.
But yeah, it is funny. They always say I don't usually like women, but I like you.
Right.
I think they're just socialized to say that because the reality is like there's a lot of funny women that just you don't.
Yeah, there's plenty of funny women, and you could just say I enjoyed your show. You don't actually have to tell me.
But I think
the first part is like, usually I don't like black people, but you're one of the good ones. And
you know what else you could never say is usually I don't like fat people. You could never say that. That's almost the worst thing you could ever say to anybody.
Gay people make me nervous, but you seem nice. I mean, it just seems like Chinese people are evil, but you're great. I mean, just some weird, random, I don't know what the hell your problem is. Christians are creepy, but you seem to be living the tenets
There's
of
something,
Jesus.
but there is still something about a funny. I've had movie stars, I've had gorgeous movie stars tell me, Sue, you scare the daylights out of me, and I'm like,
I'm gonna need a name.
Colin
Brad Pitt.
Colin Farrell.
Oh, Colin Farrell.
He's pretty gorgeous.
Is he a movie star?
I consider him a movie star.
Colin Farrell. I'm you know who I'm
Colin
mixing him up
Farrell,
with?
Irish.
Will Ferrell.
No. No, Colin Farrell.
Okay, Irish.
Irish.
I used to drink
Told
a
me
lot.
I'd scare the shit out of him. I don't miss a fucking trick, he told me.
Well, you don't.
I don't, but I don't. Why do I have to scare them? What tricks are they pulling?
Right.
See, they tell me right off the bat. I'm like, well, what tricks are you pulling?
You scare the shit out of me.
He said I was gorgeous or something, but I scared the shit out of him. And I'm like, well, what good does that do me?
I like that. That's fantastic, but that doesn't do anything for me. How am I supposed to? How does that manifest in my life? And that's hilarious.
He's a good guy. He picked me up the first time I ever met him, carried me down the street.
Oh, because you're little.
I'm little.
And guys want to pick you up.
Yes, they pick me up a lot. And the only time I don't really like it is when I'm mad. Or when I don't know when it's happening. Like, I started boxing.
Yeah.
I went to box with this guy, Martin. And he's like, Costello, what are you doing? What do you want here? What do you want to box for? What's up? And I said, this is why I want to box. Because I don't like when guys pick me up. And he's like, what are you talking about, stupid? That's ridiculous. No guy's picking you up. I went to Martha's Vineyard. I did stand up. I leave. I go to the bar to meet everybody afterwards. I walk in the door, and it was like one of those doors were upstairs, and you walk right into the full open bar.
Sure.
Fireman's hold around the knees, carried across the entire bar. By a fireman. A Boston fireman picked me. I didn't know him. I wasn't expecting it.
Okay. I think we all know that is not okay. Gentlemen.
Don't pick me up.
Ladies, whoever's doing it, whoever's picking up Sue Costello, you don't know her well enough. Okay? It's like, quite honestly, it's like calling me honey. My dad's the only one who can call me honey. How about that? My husband probably could, but he doesn't. And, that's right. You were on my show right after I had to tell that guy, the booker, I had canceled a booking thing, and this guy started calling me honey, and I was like, and we're done.
Yeah,
click.
Yeah.
And because that's how I am rude to people. I say, I'm hanging up on you. Click. I'm the worst. I'm not. I have a hard time being super rude.
You do? You let them know you're going to hang up on them?
Yeah. I was like, I'm about to be rude. Stick this in your pipe and smoke it.
The last person I hung up on was a business affairs person. They were trying to negotiate a deal with me about my one-woman show, which I've been working on for 14 years.
Have you ever put it up?
Oh, yeah.
How hilarious if you just been, I've been writing the great American novel. It's the history of Rome. I've been working on it.
But how sad is it that you don't even know if I put it up yet? That's how much I've been promoting it. No, I'm ready now.
I'll tell you, I just did Wyatt Cenac on the show, and I said, so when are you going to leave the Daily Show? And he just looks at me and he's like, I've left the Daily Show, Jackie, about a month ago. And I was like, God dang it.
You were like, I should have did my research.
This is how much I care about your career. It's the same. I had Aisha Tyler on, and I was like, so...
Did you ask her about that big fancy?
I asked her about Talk Soup. Guess when she was on Talks?
Like 10 years ago, right? But what about when we went to dinner? You should have asked her for a couple of bucks.
Oh, I did not. Because you know who I blame for that is Judy Gold.
It was Judy's fault.
Entirely
Judy was bossy
Gold.
And big. She's a tall...
She's a
big,
tall, bossy woman.
There's no way around
She's the biggest bossy Magoo in the world because she ordered a $200 bottle of wine. Remember that?
Well, we were in Montreal and we went to a nice restaurant, but Judy and Aisha were rolling in the dough at the time.
Right. Aisha had just done a 7-episode arc on Friends.
Yes.
Judy Gold's wife is a doctor. She told us at dinner that her wife was a doctor.
So it was me, you, Aisha Tyler,
and Bamford, Maria
Bamford, and Judy Gold.
Yes. And so I sit down. I'm sitting in between you and Aisha, and Aisha's like, "What are you going to get? I kind of want to." And I said, "I'm getting a lobster." And so I know that I'm spending $100
because you know they're going to order just as much. So you figure whatever.
No. I figured I'm from Wisconsin, home of the let's split the check for who drank what and who ate what, right?
Oh, okay.
So Aisha, granted, Aisha says, I'm going to order for the table. And she announces it to the table. Nobody says anything. And I'm like, what? Get me a lobster. Is what I said. And so she orders a lobster. Remember that fruit thing that she got at the end?
Yeah.
Anyway.
There was no concept of any money whatsoever.
No, and Judy Gold orders a $200 bottle of wine.
And I didn't drink.
I didn't drink.
And
Maria couldn't drink and barely does, because she had a set.
Yeah, we had to go on stage.
And she ate probably some of the salad, and that was about it. Had a Diet Coke. And then she was like, I have to go to a set. And she says to me, Jackie, will you cover my part of the bill? And I'm like, of course. So she gets up and leaves. The bill comes. Judy Gold is the one who said this. Let's just split it 5 ways. Oh. And neither you or I say a word. Aisha's like, okay. And so I have to pay $180 Canadian.
For both of you or for yourself?
Right, for myself and for Maria Bamford. So you have to pay $90. I have to pay $90. I have to pay $90 for Bamford, and each of them pay $90.
But you were already ready to pay $100 for your lobster.
No, I paid $90 for my lobster.
Right.
Then I paid $90 for her salad and Diet Coke.
Oh. Yeah, what is that when people do that?
I believe it is the only evil thing that New Yorkers do. That say, let's just split the bill, even though they had 17
No,
counts for
Bostonians do it.
politics.
I went to my high school reunion last year or something, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go. All right, I'm going to go.
Okay.
And so I go, and it's at a Chinese restaurant, and I get there, and literally they've been there for a while, and they've all had poo-poo platters and scorpion bowls. You know what that is?
No. What are poo-poo platters and scorpion bowls? Is that a Boston thing?
It must be. Poo-poo platters are like a platter with everything on it.
Oh, like an appetizer mix of appetizers?
I guess it's appetizers, like spare ribs and chicken fingers and all that. They don't have chicken fingers anywhere else in the country.
Sure they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, and we also have appetizer platters. It's America. But what we don't call them is poo-poo platters. And then what was the other one? Scorpion bowl?
Scorpion bowl is like a big bowl of just really...
Soup?
Alcohol. No, like strong alcohol where everybody sips out of it and everything.
We call that Wapatui.
Oh.
We called it Jim Jones Punch.
Oh, all right. So scorpion bowl and poo-poo platter is what they're all having.
Right.
And I get there, and I have a Diet Coke, literally. Mm-hmm. And my friend a girl I grew up with, Diane. She had one Coors Light or something, and the bill comes, and this girl from Charlestown who's been bullied our whole high school, everything. She goes, "Why don't we just split the bill?"
I was like, "You people can split."
And I looked right at her. It was like that face off with the bully. I said, "I'm not splitting the bill." And she goes, "Why? Why don't you pay for the whole bill? You're a fucking movie star." In front of everybody. I was like, "Yeah, no." And then, sure enough, they figure out the bill. And then, and the one who only had the beer, she was driving me home. And so she didn't have to pay for all of it either. And then all of a sudden, the girl who ran the whole thing got up and started talking about somebody who was sick. And that they needed money to help the person who was sick, which we didn't even know the person. And so we're driving home, and the girl who I was with who only had the beer.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, that's good that we didn't pay. That was crazy. She was bullying us." And the girl who had the beer was like, "Oh, I gave like $40 to the sick person." I was like, "Oh my God, they worked us so many 50."
So many different ways. And let me tell you something. As we age, more and more people are going to be sick.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be done. Everybody's on their last legs here.
They're going to have to get a donate button.
Yeah, they should get a donate button. That's nice. Mark Maron has a recurring donate button.
What's that?
I'm going to give $5 a month.
Oh, he does?
And it just shows up in your PayPal account.
Oh,
I only have a one-time donate.
I have learned so much from you today. I feel like I should give you $5 on the way out.
Well, that can happen. You know what you can do? You can fill this cup of coffee up again.
Because you're going to have tons of coffee. Well, we're almost done here, but I feel like I skimmed over your mother dying, and I feel terrible because that's tragic.
You didn't kill her.
No, I didn't kill her, but it's like a huge...
It's a big deal. It's like my mom died my biological mom died when I was 7, and then my stepmother died this 5 months ago, and she wasn't, my favorite. The only thing that's funny is my sister was so funny. We go to the funeral, and the funeral was just the worst. The worst. Her sister, a couple of her sisters are madmen, and her brother is, I don't know what, 25 years in the Navy. It ought to have, if he needs to borrow a pair, I can lend him mine. But it was the dumbest, when my dad dies, we're going to have, my brother Russ was like, when Dad dies, we're going to have a full Armenian mass. And then we're going to have booze and food, and everyone's going to tell stories about them, and they're all going to be true, and half of them are going to be horrible, and half of them are going to be great, hilarious, but they're all going to be funny, and they're all going to be great. And I was like, so during the full Armenian Mass, which is almost 3 hours, can I do what Dad does now during Mass, which is go get a cup of coffee, and then come back for communion? Because that's what, I don't want to sit.
It is weird that we always joke about that stuff because it's going to happen. Everybody I find like a lot of times that instead of living life, we talk about it. We're so afraid of it that we almost skip over the.
Well, the weird thing, I did a storytelling show for Risk, for the Kevin Allison Risk show the other night here in New York, and Dave Hill went up before me. Do you know Dave? A comic, and he's great. And his mom passed away 2 years ago, and he told the greatest story. And it really touched me because it was about how his mom passes away. But before his mom died, he was like, I thought I got it. Death. All through my 20s and 30s, I was like, people die, man. That's the way it goes. And he was like, his aunts would die or his grandparents. And he's like, so we're going to have finger sandwiches and tell stories. It's going to be, it's going to be weird, but it's going to be fine. And then his mom passed away, and he said, and it was a whole other level. And it wasn't like I didn't know she was going to die. She had cancer. And then he told this beautiful story of them having cookies right before she died. Because that was one of the things they did. They ate cookies together. And one of the last things she ever said to him was that she was proud of him. It was really, really touching. Very sweet.
And big for guys, because there was a guy I was talking to the other night that I used to date, and he looked really weird in the eyes, And when I hugged him, he's like, oh, don't let go or something. I remember thinking my first reaction was, okay, creepy. Because I was like, that was weird. He was like hanging on me almost.
Yeah.
And then his eyes, I was like, is he high?
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him, and he was telling me about his new apartment down in whatever. He's like a Wall Street guy, and he's telling me about all this fancy stuff he's buying, and he keeps saying, I don't know if I should do it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, well, maybe you like your apartment or whatever. I don't know what I was saying to him. All of a sudden, this guy comes up to him, and he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry about your mom. Oh. And
So
I go, what's wrong with your mom? And he's like, oh, she's dying of cancer. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And then I talked to him for a little while, longer about that. And I'm like, he didn't even know how to tell me.
Are both of your parents alive?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a weird, it's a different kind of thing, when you lose a parent or a sibling. It's like, and that's why I had a lot of sympathy for Nancy, my stepmother's, her siblings, She has three sisters and a brother. And I was like, it's when I have four brothers and a sister, and even the brothers of mine that I'm not close to, it's going to be weird. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very, very powerful where you're like, no, I want to call him up and bitch at him about what a douchebag he is, and or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember after Nancy passed away, I wanted to complain about her brothers so much, because he asked me for $300 for her obituary at the wake.
Oh yeah, people get crazy too when it happens. Everybody acts out and acts crazy and money and everything.
And it was I was like, did you think I was carrying it on my person? Mm-hmm. And I said, I thought you were going to work out this other thing. And so I didn't, but I wanted someone to complain about him too. And my dad was expressly not invited to the funeral because their divorce was very acrimonious, and he would say something dumb. My dad has,
like the guy
much like Hampton Yount,
yes.
There is no filter in the world of Elliott Cation, and so Greg would have punched him right in the face. Nancy told me once that he was out to dinner. My dad and Nancy and my Uncle Greg were all out to dinner one night, and it came up that my father had been having an affair for 9 years. And my dad said, not 9 years in a row. Which is the greatest, it's a line in my act, right? And it's the greatest line in the world because it's hilarious. But my Uncle Greg, Nancy said she had to stop him from punching my dad right then. And I was like, yeah, funny. It doesn't make him less of a charming asshole. Yeah, he's a charming asshole.
You'll miss him just as much. It's like, I was saying to my friend today about that. She lost a dear friend of hers, and I was saying that I am of the belief that the soul doesn't die.
Right.
So I think that what happens is they go to a different realm, and then we have to just communicate and listen in a more still, soft way, which is hard to do when you're in so much pain and you want to deflect it all. You feel like hardening instead of softening when somebody leaves.
Yeah, I don't think, as long as I can think about them, I think that they're there somewhere, Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with that, and I like that idea, but it's, like my mother who passed away, my biological mother, when I was 7, I've always said that I picture her in heaven. And her idea of heaven is a place where she doesn't have 6 kids under the age of 10. Mm-hmm.
It's true.
It's my idea of heaven as well, oddly enough.
And you're in heaven then.
And I'm in heaven. Every day
You're
is
in heaven here with me on the Kadoozie Kast. Well, Jackie, this was awesome. Jackie Cation, Dork Forest, go donate.
Perfect.
She's checked my levels the whole time. Hopefully my sound got better.
Yes. Well done, Sue Costello.
Thanks, babe. Bye, everybody.